All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the markets, and we're also going to be diving into the biggest narratives and the market shift after this big altcoin pump last week. We had an unprecedented pump on XRP, which also sent a lot of the other listed securities and just some altcoins in general really in a, it was a pretty it was an overreactive pump, I would almost say, if I had to try to put a word to what that was. And based on that news event, it's hard to actually depict it as a buy the rumors, sell the news, because the news came out on one day and it was just probably the biggest bullish sentiment and news that we've gotten out of crypto for quite a while. But what are going to be the fallbacks from that? What are also the biggest next news catalysts to look out for? And what narratives should you be clued into? We're going to go over all of that and more in this edition. Let's go ahead and dive into it. If you are new to the channel, be sure to drop down and hit the like button and the subscribe button for more every single day here on Banter, on In the Game, and across TA, charting, fundamentals, AI, DeFi. We have it all covered for you here on Crypto Banter as well. Shout out to our sponsors on In the Game. Shout out to Bybit down below, one of the leading exchanges in the world at this point. But if you are a US customer, we all know the fiascos with the KYC going on right now. So if you need a new exchange to trade on, there's Bybit for the international, customers, but you can get involved with 𝗪𝗋𝗋 down below if you're in the US and need a new spot to execute your trades. So 𝗪𝗋𝗋 down below as well. Shout out to NordVPN. They always keep me secure, kind of anonymous across my locations on the blockchain. So shout out to NordVPN. You can sign up for a VPN down below with NordVPN. And last but not least, Vulcan Forged. Truly one of my favorite projects in the blockchain gaming space. It's been awesome working with them as a sponsor here on Banter, one of the leading gaming studios and infrastructures in Web3. Now, let's go ahead and dive into it. As mentioned, guys, what we saw last week, it was pretty unparalleled. We haven't seen that much liquidity, that much bullish sentiment come into altcoins in quite some time, right? We called WAGMI games quite a while ago. We'll talk about that here in just a second on some of the calls that we made, but XRP up 53% still over the week. We have Solana up 22% for the week. And those are the real two big winners as far as those high cap altcoins. And where are we going to go from here? Because we are seeing some pullbacks across Polygon. We're seeing some pullbacks across stuff like Cardano, which was also one of those listed securities. This is not pre-recorded. I'll shut that comment down right now. This is not pre-recorded. This is live. So get that out of your head there. Nice try though. But when you look across the market at the moment, a lot of the listed securities that weren't XRP, other than Solana, are taking a little bit of a hit because that news event was quite large. And it's hard to sustain that momentum and that amount of liquidity coming into the markets on one single day. The trading volume on that day was absolutely exponential. So what can we expect from this, right? We see SEC Chair Gary Gensler saying he's disappointed with the court ruling. Of course you are, Gary. You're just trying to shut down this industry so you can get your CBDCs lined up and funnel all the money through your Bitcoin ETFs. We completely understand. So that's going to be, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Gary Gensler if he's kind of going to stay in office, in his chair next time around. That's probably up in the air at this point in time. But of course, Gensler is in shambles at this moment in time. But really, after the XRP news, the one thing that we're now looking forward to is the SEC potentially pushing forward a spot Bitcoin ETF. So obviously, we see the SEC formally accepting BlackRock spot ETF application for review. This is big because they rejected the review last time. So honestly, from the XRP announcement up to this Bitcoin ETF announcement, there's not really going to be these huge catalysts across the market like that for quite a while. Maybe a month or two. Who knows when this, ETF is going to get accepted? That's up in the air at this point in time. What we do know is it's hard to sustain the liquidity and the momentum that we saw here over this time period. So whenever we look across the markets, I think there are still some opportunities, some ones that we've taken advantage of quite a bit. We have WAGMI Games, which is up 300% for the month. So shout out to anyone who got involved with this one. This was one of our better calls of, I would say, the summertime so far, up 300% at this moment over the last month. And we'll talk about it later. There's a lot of whale liquidity coming into this project. And at a $40 million market cap, it actually could still have some upside. So we'll talk about that. Ocean Protocol, we gave this one to you at 26 cents. So it's up 50% at this moment in time. So shout out to a couple of those calls that we did make over this time period. And also, I'm happy we stayed away from a couple of tokens and we're waiting for better prices on a few tokens. And the one narrative that people are really clued into is Web3 gaming. And we all know the impact that gaming has. And I'll show you the chart later in the show about how dominant the gaming markets are. But at this moment in time, we have people like, obviously, 𝗏𝗏𝗃 is a gaming, will give the best life-changing returns the next few years. Its run will likely be decoupled from actual crypto. I'll critique. I actually doubt that it's going to be a while before, back in 2021, people were saying, oh, gaming's decoupling. No, it isn't. Not at the moment in time. Let's get real. Let's come back down to earth. It's going to take mega hit blockbuster games for this to actually decouple. So if you're looking at gaming decoupling potentially from the market, that's probably unlikely for the next couple of years. We would really need an actual competitor in the Web2 gaming. In the long run, that gamers are going to play games. Right now, crypto games, Web3 games, and crypto are tightly associated with each other. So it's really hard to actually come to that verdict. So I would critique that part. But you can essentially miss the entire of crypto, but just get gaming right and see life-changing results. I agree, because I think gaming is going to also be the biggest sector in crypto. This 100x run will only happen once. After that, and real estate. And it's funny. Someone's like, it's wild how much you hype up crypto gaming. And 𝗏𝗏𝗃 being 𝗏𝗏𝗃, it's wild how you've been watching me for years, you little creepy guy, you. 𝗏𝗏𝗃 always coming back. But I do agree with his sentiment there. And then there's other people across the space. Crypto gaming will yield the biggest returns on the next crypto bull run. There's 3.1 billion gamers in the world who spend $150 billion a year on in-game assets. The gaming industry is bigger than music, movies, and TV combined. All this adds up to the fact that if we just get one smash hit in the Web3 gaming space, and honestly, it doesn't have to be a smash hit. We literally need to just see another 𝗓𝗓𝗃 come into the space, another game that people flock to and they're playing over and over again. I'm not saying the quality of a game of 𝗓𝗓𝗃, but all it's going to take is another 𝗓𝗓𝗃 Infinity-like popularity game. So on that level of popularity for the entire gaming industry to potentially have that bull run that we're all looking for. So I see in the chat box, a lot of people are asking about the Vulcan Forge news catalyst. I will spill the beans on a couple of things. So the news catalyst has been pushed back. We know crypto, unfortunately, there are delays, but this is a mega catalyst that's going to be, to use a word that you can try to put the clues together, broadcasted across 300 million households across the world. That is probably the biggest hint I can give you. But it'll be in front of 300 million potential households. This is loading up for that catalyst, in my opinion. It is up 13% for the month. We see it making moves from about $3 up to $3.43. While this is not a major move in crypto, it is showing strength, and the holder count is increasing, and what they're building is also becoming stronger. They just added another game to their repertoire. I mean, along with Gala Games at this point, Vulcan Forge probably has the most games, them and Gala. I think Gala has the most active in the space right now. But then you can also hop into all these different games across the Vulcan Forged ecosystem. This one's an MMA metaverse. I'm actually stoked to try this one out. I think that this one has a lot of potential to be one of Vulcan Forge's better games. So Mr. Wright says Gala will be the biggest. I think as far as blockchain gaming companies, you might be right. When you look at what they're doing, we'll go to Gala here. When you look at blockchain gaming companies, I do think that Gala is doing a lot of things right. I really do. The token is going to be a slow grind unless we hit a bull run. So I think you do have time to accumulate. However, I see a lot of people asking about veracity. I'll take altcoin questions at the end of the show, guys. Let me just go through a couple of coins. Like Wilder too, but Vulcan bigger. Yeah, Vulcan Forge is a bigger token than Wilder. I'll take altcoin questions at the end, guys. Another one that I'm really clued into at this moment. Yeah, DCA got heaps of time. And that's a really good point. Guys, you don't need to all be aping into these things every single day. And on the XRP show last week, we really nailed it because what did we do? I was literally sitting here telling you guys, don't buy, don't FOMO. And everything's come down since that last live show on, I believe it was Thursday when the XRP news came out. So we really nailed that. And honestly, you don't have to rush into these things. These crypto gaming projects, they're going to materialize heading into the next cycle, into the next bull run. And we don't see that smash hit coming right away. So you do have time to accumulate these things. Another one that's showing a ton of strength in this market, like quietly, it went back down to this 2.5 cent level. And now Altera's up 55% over the 1 month time. We've been mentioning this is one, for example, that I just want to DCA and have as much in my bags in the next cycle. This is the easiest 10 to 20x that you're going to find across the blockchain. Why do I say that? The amount of games that are coming in to build with Altera. And imagine the next cycle. Let's go to a fantasy world. We're going to go to a fantasy world where Web3 games are pumping again. And we got 5 or 6 games that are like really solid, right? Well, Web2 game developers, just like last cycle, they're going to be like, what is this crypto gaming stuff, right? How can I put NFTs in my game? They're going to go over to the Unity asset store here and they can use Altera's SDK, which literally is a friendly tool, making it easy to deploy Web3 assets natively inside of their games without having to have any coding experience, without having to know anything about smart contracts, blockchain. This is going to be big. And the exposure that it's going to have when the next gaming cycle does come, I think it's inevitable that this is going to be a 10 to 20x opportunity, if not more. I'm never someone who's going to give you unrealistic predictions. And I honestly don't say much is going to 20x, but I do think Altera has legitimate 20x potential in the next cycle. And they did hint with a partnership with Arbitrum. Arbitrum showed a lot of strength over the last week, or over the last month, really, over 30%, or it just went down. So it's about 28% over the last month. And the developments within the ecosystem have been quite impressive. We have 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 which is one of the top projects. Their upcoming airdrop and lock drop is very soon. We've been hyping up this one for a while because I'm excited for it. I got my Spartan NFTs in my wallet. I'm going to be definitely waiting on that Sparta airdrop. So I'm excited to get some Sparta tokens in my bag because I see this having a run. I really see 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 having a big run whenever this does launch. It's like the DeFi kingdoms of Arbitrum, and there's not really a gamified yield play underneath Arbitrum that's doing it right like 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. And they also have IDOs. Today they had the GameSwift IDO, and this sold out in 38 seconds. Unfortunately, the community didn't like that it sold out in 38 seconds. You know, it's really hard to get your hands on that if it sells out in 38 seconds. But the GSwift token also is launching very soon, and I'm excited for this launch. But here's how we have to play this. These aren't if you're getting an airdrop, then all power to you. If you're getting the GSwift airdrop, which we told you guys about, and if you're going to get the 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 airdrop, you know, that's fine. Wait for those airdrops. But the one thing I actually wouldn't be doing, is coming in and letting these tokens hit the market and then aping into it, okay? I know the diluted and the circulating cap, for example, on something like GSwift is going to be quite large. The gap is going to be quite large. If we don't hit a bull market immediately, or if the value doesn't deem the token undervalued, which is going to be hard for it to be undervalued. We have Myria with like 150 games building with Myria, and they've had nothing but downward momentum. This thing launched in April, and it can't buy a break. It's down 84%. And over the last week, while every altcoin took a leg up, it's down another 22%. So this is an example of how new launches don't always equal profits. So the ways I would have played this is if you got in the IDO, big congrats. You got trigger finger because that thing sold out so quickly, it would have been hard to get your hands on. But if you're going to get the airdrop, that's great. You can either then take profits on your airdrop, or you can let it simmer, let it marinate in your bags. Use a different word today other than harvest. We've been using the words harvest and plant those seeds. We're going to use the word marinate today. So you can let that bag marinate and let it go into the next bull run. And a platform like GameSwift could potentially grow quite a bit if you don't have to focus on the timing so much. So the verdict here is don't ape in to stuff like GameSwift or Myria right after launch. Look how volatile it is. Weigh your options on diluted and circulating market caps, and then you can play your hand from there. That's my advice on that. But I am very bullish on both platforms, and I hope to see a lot more come out of GameSwift and 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗡. So the bottom line, too, is if Altura launches that partnership with Arbitrum, I think that if Altura gets in with that Arbitrum ecosystem, which has a lot of liquidity from that airdrop still circulating, Arbitrum's been crushing it. So I'm really looking at Altura as a big play in that low market cap sector. And the diluted's not really scary on this one. So I'd be looking at Altura quite a bit. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. I think everyone's wondering, if you tailed this WAGMI games call, what do I do with it? What is going to be the next move that I should make in the market if I'm holding WAGMI, if I got in and I'm up 300%? What should be my next move, right? I honestly, if you caught this bottom and you're up 300% over the month, you might take some profits, right? Take your initial bag out at the very least. I think that that would be the smart thing to do, is secure your downside. So just an example, if you put $1,000 in down here, and this is now 300%ed, take out your initial investment. You still have a good bag to ride with for the future, and then you have no downside. And when you look at the market cap here of $40 million, I actually think this could go quite a bit north from here. And that's my honest sentiment. I would take some profits, but then I would leave a bag in so you don't miss any of the extra activity that happens on a token like this. And here's why I'm super bullish. Obviously, their developments, the games coming out, they're going to be in the same catalyst that Vulcan Forge is, with 300 million households. But bottom line, there's no VCs on this token, guys. Never do you have tokens like this that have no VCs, no token unlocks, no liquidity dumps from venture capital firms trying to get their investment back. This right here, as you see, the community controls the circulating supply, and this community is bullish as it gets. There's literally $100,000, $30,000, $50,000 buys coming in on this token that is a $40 million market cap. So when you look at the opportunity here, I think that WAGMI, not Myria, although up 300% for the month, could still have some upside. So I think that you play yourself right, take profits on your initial investment, and see what happens from there. Because even if it takes a bit of a dip, you can take out the rest and you're fully in profit. So as mentioned, this is probably our best call of the summertime so far. And we'll see if this one still has legs in it. And I'm really focused in. Everyone focuses on the AAA games. Everyone thinks that, you have to look at AAA first-person shooters, this and that, when it comes to blockchain gaming, when in reality, the simple products are going to be, yeah, exactly, Gears, no Ponzi-nomics. That's a positive thing here in this situation. So Rex GG says, mobile gamers spent more than what the music industry generated in 2022. People play mobile games more than console games, guys. And it makes sense. Not everyone can have a PS5. Not everyone can have an Xbox. Not everyone can have a high-powered gaming PC. Most people have Androids. They have iPhones. They have iPads. They have tablets. They have, Chromebooks, or like, I don't even know what the Google Chrome tablet is. I'm an Apple person over here. But I think that the point is mobile products actually garner the most liquidity and the most attention. And whenever I'm looking at stuff that's on the way, I think that WAGMI, first of all, they're a mobile game. So that's what makes me bullish on WAGMI games also whenever they launch to continue their growth. But I'm also looking at a couple of mobile game launches. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is going to have their NFTs. I'm looking forward to those. 𝗕𝗏𝗹𝗏, this is one that announced during the last bull cycle, and they've been continuously building. Their mobile app actually looks super sleek at this moment in time. I'm waiting to get my access so I can actually jump into this product, but everything I've heard and seen, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏 looks fantastic. It's like the Clash of Clans of the blockchain. And then one that's live. So I'm giving you guys one that's in like pre-alpha, one that's live, which is Honeyland, and then 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which also has NFTs upcoming. So these are 3 mobile products that I would check out. But WAGMI Games is the one here with a token that is on that exponential growth curve. But I do think the mobile gaming sector is being slept on. And I think that mobile games, stuff, I'm not saying, I don't want more games like 𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗏 Infinity, but the simplicity, it matters. You shouldn't have to be complicated when you're playing a game. You shouldn't have to jump through all these hoops. Just make it simple. And these mobile products do that very well. And then last but not least, I think an undervalued accumulation right now is Covalent. This has been a consistent one on my watch list. Just like with Ocean, Ocean's made a huge move, over it was down at like 26 cents back here. This one's up 50% over the last like month and a half, I would say. But when you look at one that hasn't really had that activity, but has just as much utility, I think that's Covalent. This one's at a $60 million market cap, and I think this has a tremendous upside potential whenever we get into the next bull, or if there's another AI catalyst like Elon's xAI. I'm not sure. We've seen Ocean make that move, and I think Covalent could potentially be one to watch that's under $100 million market cap as well. Whereas Singularity, Fetch, etc., their market caps are quite a bit higher at this moment in time. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the chat here. NFT champions, Hustle, do you rate it? It looks smooth. Game looks good. Token doesn't look good. That's what I would say. I do love what they're doing. I love the game. But it's $1 million market cap. It's about to sink under the $1 million market cap. If we were to take a look at the chart here, unfortunately, let's just see. Like over the month, it's down 30%. I don't see any upside coming from this anytime soon, unfortunately. Let's see. King and a Moon, I will have to take a look at that. Covalent, great. I agree. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is an interesting one because unfortunately, like I don't know of many new features on 𝗏𝗏𝗏, but I do think it's not going anywhere. And I think that Web3 enabled streaming has a place at a time. But with Kick, Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, is it going to have a narrative behind it? Maybe at some point. I think it's a bull run play rather than like buying now and expecting it to go up. Matic, super bullish on Matic. I'm interested to see what happens when they turn it into the POL token, POL, or Paul, I guess. I don't want to call it Paul. It's like the Alien movie. I think it's Paul Rudd, right? The Alien movie. So I don't want to call it Paul. We're going to call it POL, POL. But I am very bullish on Matic. And I do think that it has one of the brightest futures of all the top 10 to 15 coins in the market. Veracity, I'll answer a few more. Engine, nobody uses it. I'm just going to say it. I'll be the one to FUD. Nobody uses Engine, unfortunately. I talk to so many games, and Engine's never in their tech stack. Might pump in the bull run. Not being used much, though. And if it is being used, I don't know what it, like, at this point, I don't know. I'm not FUDding. I'm just telling you what I hear because I talk to a lot of games out there. Veracity is awesome. Veracity is one that is going to do really well in the next cycle. I think they're one of the better overall businesses in Web3. Hustle, please look at high. Yeah, so guys, you have to play these correctly. When we were getting into, let's just say, I'll pull up a couple of examples. We got that, and we got High Street. All right, perfect. Let's go look at, it would be about the 1 year chart at this point in time. Leading up to the metaverse announcement. Guys, the metaverse announcement was everything for these tokens. Like, these aren't the ones that you buy and you just hold. We played these up towards the metaverse narrative. So there was the Apple AR, augmented reality glasses. There was the new Meta Quest platform that came out, and the metaverse was really in the spotlight there. And this token went from $1.40 up to $2.20. So like a 50% gain in just a matter of days, right? So same thing with 𝗪𝗪𝗻. I love 𝗪𝗪𝗻. I think that this one is probably the best looking metaverse at this time. It went from 24 cents to 54 cents in the 12th to the 3rd. 3 weeks, it did over 100%. Those are the narrative plays, though, guys. And we mentioned it could be a big buy the rumor, sell the news. So I think that the metaverse tokens at this moment in time, they need that narrative. They need that big news event at this moment in time to kind of sustain that price action, because the metaverse isn't dying, but the metaverse definitely isn't in the spotlight. And that is, that's not what you want. Are Matic changing name? Yes, they are. 𝗕𝗬𝗕 has been performing fantastic over the last week. If you take a look at it, or no, it was 24 hours. Yeah, it's over. It's 13% over the 24 hours. I think that it's been pretty stagnant. It's up 10% over the month. They are still building, and I think it's a very undervalued play. Star Atlas NFTs. I know some guys who lost like 7 figures on Star Atlas NFTs. I don't know if buying virtual spaceships, I don't think that's in at the moment. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know that virtual spaceships are the best assets at the moment. No FUD. Not FUDding. I'm just being realistic. I love the game, but I don't invest in their tokens, and I have a couple of ships that are definitely like not worth a lot of money anymore. Polis is that's Star Atlas's token, right? It's the governance token, so it might have more upside than Atlas, in my opinion. Render, I'm super bullish on Render. I'm holding Render for the long term. I think they're the top business in Web3. That's my opinion. Mobland update, there's not a lot of update on. The same studio that's building Mobland is building 𝗏𝗏𝗏. So once we see more from Mobland, I'll be super happy on that. But I will cover what 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is doing in the meantime, because it is the same studio. So I would pay attention to this project as well as Mobland. Heard 𝗕𝗂𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗃 is amazeballs. Seriously thinking about getting some. 𝗂𝗋𝗋's undervalued. I think 𝗂𝗋𝗋's a nice play, honestly. If we could find it here, it'll be yeah, 𝗂𝗋𝗋. So it's about a $23 million market cap. My only fear, guys, is the low liquidity. It's like 33,000 volume over the last 24 hours. It's definitely not that strong as far as liquidity, but it's a good product. I absolutely agree. And it's undervalued. Thoughts on 𝗏𝑎𝑠, K-A-S? I think K-A-S has a lot more in the tank. I think that's one of the better long-term holds in crypto right now, personally. Virtual Uber. Yeah, Nicholas, right? The Star Atlas spaceships, we'd be virtually Ubering out here. But the thing is your Uber investment, it wasn't like Uber where your investment would have gone up. It was like, it was the complete opposite of investing in an Uber. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, I love the team. Those guys are awesome. They're building one of the best games in Web3. I'm super bullish. I have some 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s. I'm staking for carrots. I'm looking forward to their token launch. The whole nine. I love 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. WAGMI mentioned earlier, I think that there's more upside. If you're up 300%, maybe take some profits to secure your downside. Love what they're doing, however. Gala Games, bullish on Gala Games. I talked about it earlier. I think Gala's one of the better businesses in Web3 gaming, as far as live products, well-rounded ecosystems. But I think you have time to DCA here. I think Gala isn't going to have like that 100% overnight catalyst like an XRP for quite a while. So I would, slowly accumulate Gala. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'll end with this one. Sandbox. It's not in my stack. I'm not looking to invest in Sand. I think the game could be a lot better. I think that if we're going to call that the metaverse, then I think we're selling ourselves short. So Sand is not in my bags. It could do well, but I'm not holding it. Guys, drop down below, hit the like button. We spend about half an hour here with you guys 3 days a week on crypto banter. So like the video, subscribe down below, and I will be back on Wednesday with the next show. As always, play well, my friends.